Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's episode of The Elouise Show, episode 10, where I will be discussing Black imagery with Rain. Rain was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and currently resides in the Bronx. Having attended a professional performing arts high school, Rain realized her sense of creativity at an early age. She attended the School of Visual Arts to sharpen her craft as a self taught filmmaker. In 2017, Rain launched her first visual under the name Rain Visual, where she wrote, produced, and directed her project Truth on all platforms, which was amazing, by the way. Rain then went on to create music videos, short films, all the while behind the scenes of some of New York's biggest events. Today, Rain has worked on several different projects and platforms as a DP, director, producer, content creator, and editor. Rain, welcome to the Elouise Show. How are you?
Yay, I'm good.
You're good?
Yes, I love that intro.
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
How's your night going? How's your week?
It's going well. It's going good. It's Wednesday, so it's right. It's hump day, so it's still going. How's your week? How are you doing?
Oh, the weekend's going well. It's going lovely. The weekend was a little rough. We had some interesting and sad events that occurred, but we'll probably get into that a little later.
Yeah.
But let's go straight into you and Rain visuals, okay?
Yeah.
As a filmmaker in 2020, what are some of the things that you feel like are important to like document?
Yeah. So I feel like with any filmmaker, you have to just be honest, with what you feel driven to express. I feel for me, most importantly, I think it's important to also embody just what your current climate is, like the one we are right now. And I think it's important that you just share your truth and you share your feelings, and whatever you create, you just make sure you do it with passion and a level of honesty.
Yeah, I like to watch interviews with Ava DuVernay because
Love her. I love her.
And shout out to her.
Right.
She likes to say, when all else fails, just do the story justice, kind of thing. So speaking from an honest place, speaking from a place of integrity, of course, but also keeping the subject in mind.
Right. Absolutely. And that's
Go ahead.
exactly. And that's what's important. That's why it has to be truthful and it has to come from a place of passion, because you want to make sure that whatever story you're telling, that any person that sees it, reads it, whatever it is, it's important that they can connect to it, because at the end of the day, we're all humans. And with my last project, The New Normal, I made it because I was suffering inside in quarantine. And I think it came out, even for me, after watching it, and I don't really do that in a lot of my projects, I kind of was like a little taken back from myself, feeling that level of pain of what we're going through right now, being Black in America. And, with that, I just felt like if I didn't tell a story that was true to how I'm feeling, or just, just bleeding out in front of me, that I know that, it wouldn't touch anyone else, or anyone else I showed it to, or anyone else I posted it and shared it. So that's, again, it's about the level of honesty and just being driven to create something that you can relate to. And that comes from just a space of just you, all of you.
So what would you say is the current theme of all of your work, all of your self-produced, self-written, the work that you are behind? What is your constant theme?
I always have Black imagery in it, always. I mean, I've done photography, of course. I've done New York Fashion Week, where, I'm not, I'm not saying that that's the only thing I know, right? But I'm not saying that's like, the only thing I've done, Black imagery, but I love to tell our story because, you know, we are so diverse. You know, we different shades, we come with different backgrounds, we come with you know, just different levels of issues at times that we're bringing to the table. And I always want to provide full aspect of all of that. And I love bringing out the beauty in that as well, because, you know, with every struggle, there's like a beauty behind it.
So it's interesting that you say that, because a question that someone asked me recently was, Lynette, why are you always talking about Blackness? Why are you always talking about Black? Why does everything have to be Black with you? So now I'm going to take this question that someone threw at me, and I'm going to throw it on to you, because I think that because I talk about it in my network so much, like it's like people are over it, but maybe hearing it from another person, like, why is it so important to speak on Blackness? Why is it so important to tell Black stories?
It's important because our story was told for us. You know, in US history books, we have this much of what it means in America to be Black and what we've contributed to it. You know, you have slavery, and then we went to the civil rights, Civil War, and then you jump a little bit again, and you speak about the Renaissance, the Harlem Renaissance, and then maybe now, you know, I haven't picked up the history book because, you know, I'm older now, but I mean, then we'll probably jump into Barack Obama. And, you know, it was written for us, you know, so why not tell a story that says who we really are and how different and diverse we are. In the society, we have so many people telling our story, people calling us thugs, people telling us what we should be and how we should look and how we should talk, you know? Is there a question?
Tell me, then not all Black people are thugs?
I hate to break it to you.
No way.
Sorry, I'm not sure, but I'm just saying, it's crazy that
So Black people go to college?
apparently we do. I mean, yes, you know, and that's the
Black people have their PhDs?
yes, yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And that's exactly what that is. That's our stereotype. We've always been stereotyped. We always had the story written for us. So why not create a story for us, by us?
I like what you're saying. So with and keeping with the theme of what you're talking about,
Yeah.
what do you believe, what has your work thus far contributed to the Black catalog, whether it be history, art, media, whatever?
Yeah.
What has it contributed, and what do you hope to contribute moving forward?
It contributes some honesty, a level of honesty. It puts out awareness. And again, it just tells that story of how diverse we are. I can, like my last project, Truth, you know, I basically told a story of how it feels to be in quarantine and feeling scared to go outside, not only because it's a pandemic, but because I have brothers, yeah, I have, you know, sisters that are out there who are fighting a fight, but may not return home. And we've heard that so many times. And again, with that project, you know, I'm telling a truth to what it looks like in our society. But then I'll have other projects. I have a Rain On project where I kind of shine light on certain individuals that I meet, and it's just to create the beauty and bring the beauty out, you know, in terms of a fro, natural hair, or even just long braids, anything. It's just to tell a story of, again, how diverse we are. And what I'm hoping to do one day is just be a great filmmaker and just continue to contribute to what Black imagery is, and to just, again, go so far that we just provide a level of truth in our society that can hopefully open doors to other people and touch people, of course.
Okay, so I think it's really interesting that to have this conversation with you as a filmmaker, because the history of film, the history of media has is kind of like fucked up as
Yeah.
it relates to how they went about, you know, marketing things, how they went about they being people behind media, people within the media industry, within the radio industry, you know, within the television industry, like the evolution of it all. how it all came to be. For anyone who doesn't know, TV came from radio. Radio came from traveling theater. What was it called? That's not vaudeville. Is it called vaudeville? Ooh, there is a form of theater. Oh my gosh, my theater professors would kill me because I'm supposed to know this like the back of my hand. But there's a form of theater that basically it was all minstrelsy. So for anyone who doesn't know what minstrelsy is, that's when white people go into blackface and they do a lot of cooning and make fun of black people because they thought we were dumb and ridiculous.
Yeah.
That then transferred over into radio where they had like children's books that had like coons in it. And so they would have like these books on the radio or these stories, these soaps on the radio. It then transferred into like advertising where like that's how you got like the Aunt Jemima caricature. That's how you got the Uncle Ben, Uncle Tom.
Yeah.
You know, and then once radio turned into TV, everything that we were hearing, we were now seeing. And then it just continued to mold and evolve. So I really always think it's interesting to have conversations about imagery with filmmakers because then we go back to what Ava was talking about, which is like, you have to do the story justice, right? So with that said, are there any stories out there, and I know this wasn't on the list of questions, but you kind of inspired me.
That's cool.
Are there any stories out there right now that you think do a good job of like telling our story, like showing an authentic Black voice with devout of any type of coonery?
Yeah, so that's a great question, by the way. And you know, I do think there is. However, there's so much now where we are in terms of filmmaking, where we are the ones telling the story, and we are the ones that are letting other execs or the producers how it looks to make a movie about us or for us. Yeah, there are levels of coonery still. And I think the first thing that came to mind, which is interesting, is like fashion, because I also have a fashion background as well. And I remember the, okay, I remember the H&M campaign. I remember the Gucci runway. I forgot who it was. It was a Chinese, I'm not gonna say Chinese, but a Korean, I believe, or Asian designer, let's say, who had the cornrows and doing that. And that's what honestly comes to mind. And I mean, I believe that there isn't enough seats at the table when things like that happen. And I think the window is so small that there aren't enough of us in a room to say, okay, look, that's
not okay.
That's not cool. Why is he wearing cornrows and you know he's not Black or any type of descendant of Black?
And you know, it's interesting because it's really just cultural sensitivity. Like, you don't see Black Americans walking around with curls on their side of their heads and what is the hat?
Yarmulke. Mm-hmm. The yarmulke.
The yarmulke. I thought it was that, but I didn't want to say it and be wrong.
Yeah, anything wrong, yeah.
On their head, you know, talking about L'chaim, like, no, that's cultural appropriation. No one's going to do that. They're going to respect, you know, Jewish culture. So why is it that it's okay for like mainstream media on so many different accounts, like pull from Black culture, you know? And the crazy thing is that you mentioned that they're walking in Fashion Week, like you have this Asian brand walking in Fashion Week with cornrows, but don't let me pull up, which is considered high fashion. Fashion Week is high fashion. Do not let me pull up to a job interview with cornrows though.
Exactly. They will look at you and they will judge you. And again, they will also already have a preconceived notion of who you are, who you hang around, how your name is probably properly pronounced, or, you know, how to say certain slangs. You know, there's always this idea before, and that's the thing with, you know, again, with Black imagery and just being Black altogether, you step in a room and someone will already have your whole life down pat. and they're just waiting to find out exactly how much of that is true or false. And it's sad, honestly. It's still sad. It's sad that we have to go through things like that now, in the society we live in. But again, it's that window. It's so small that we can't even be able to communicate in a level where we say, yo, that's not cool.
So where do you think though that those preconceived notions come from though? Like where do you think that comes from?
Again, it stems from creating our history. They wrote our history for us, so therefore they oppressed us. I hate to say it like that, but at the end of the day, we were oppressed and always oppressed. So if you're being oppressed, you're going to make sure that at the end of the day, no matter how you're talked about, you're not going to be in the best of light. We're going to make sure that we make dark skin look ugly. We're going to make sure that when a white woman decides to wear long braids or cornrows, it's beautiful. But if I rock my braids, it's, oh, can I touch that? How long does that take? And it's the fact that our history was written for us. So therefore, if our history is written for us, they feel as though they can control the narrative of what it looks like to be Black, or what it looks like to step in a room with a name like Shaniqua and automatically assume that she's from the projects, let's say, or she has a bunch of kids, or she's on welfare, or whatever those stereotypes is. It's the oppression that we've always had in America for so long that builds the narrative of what it looks like and what it sounds like to be Black. And that's where all of that stems from literally since we were brought into this country. That's what the agenda was, period.
I mean, since we were stolen.
Yeah, stolen. Straight up, just stolen, swiped.
Forced to stay.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we have to be, foot on our necks.
Hello.
Okay.
I think it's great that you're talking about the importance of, taking back, our history and like telling our own stories. And I think, that's what makes the passing of like Chadwick Boseman such a so impactful to the community, because he he was the Black Panther. Yeah, woohoo for anyone who's a Marvel fan out there. Right. Also, may he rest in peace. But he, he played Jackie Robinson. He played Thurgood Marshall. He was the face. He was the face of Black American greats. Right?
But yeah, you're right.
So, what do you think? What do you think the loss of Chadwick Boseman does for the Black community? Right. But then also considering that he was like a Marvel character, so you have a lot of kids who were looking up to this man. Like, what does that do to the community? Like, how do you think his life and his death have impacted us?
He was an amazing actor, let's just say, and again, rest in peace to him. And he played such big shoes and he did such a great job. I loved him in pretty much every role. I loved him in James Brown. I loved when he played Jackie Robinson. I loved when he was Black Panther. I loved that movie. But it's an immense loss. But I feel as though now where we live, like the society we live in, this not only lets us know, yes, we lost a great one, but it also opens doors for others as well and inspire. Because I feel like with his death, the way we found out everything that we did and everything up until when he first started acting to up until his death, it just tells you there's so much big shoes to fill in, one, but it also creates this inspiration as well to want to be a Black Panther or want to play a Black Panther or just be a stand-up Black man who believed in what Black imagery is and just wanting to be the best, go ahead.
Yeah, I something just listening to you talk, something just came to mind, given the circumstances of his death, you said that, right? He died from colon cancer. This man was struggling, fighting colon cancer, and none of us knew it. So on the note of Black imagery, he must have felt an immense amount of pressure to uphold a certain view. Why didn't he want the public to know what he was going through? Was it because he felt the need to live up to the image of the strong black man? Did he not? Or was it because he didn't want to like, feed into like the images of like black people and bad health? Like what was it that made him so adamant about not letting, his following know what was going on with him? Because, one of my friends was telling me like he felt robbed, like he felt like his death came out of nowhere and he felt like it was his obligation to let him know.
Right. I mean, because he's a public figure. Of course, he should tell all his business. It's interesting. I just feel as though the reason why he probably didn't say anything was because, I think he didn't want to be that guy. Like he wanted to make sure that all the roles that he played, you loved it because he was good at it, not because he was a dying man. He wanted to make sure that he did justice to every single character that he portrayed, and not telling people, of course, was like this great immense strength. I mean, you brought it up, Black people always feel like they have to be strong or whatever, but I just feel like he felt that his calling was just so much more important, and he wanted to ensure that there was nothing that would stand in the way of that. Even like anything of, wow, he's just so skinny, and oh my goodness, because I mean, I did notice him, losing weight, but I feel as though he just wanted to make sure that there was nothing tied to him being an actor. So, now that we're celebrating him and we're speaking about his work, all we can say was he was such a great actor and a great man, everyone that comes across him. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why he kept it to himself. And he did an amazing job. I mean, I read that Spike Lee said he didn't even know that he was sick during his last movie. No one knew, not anyone had an idea. And it's amazing that he was able to do something like that. But I think he felt that what the roles that he was playing were just way more important than his actual health, which is crazy, but it also says what type of person he was.
So you have there are people are actually talking in the chat, so you're inspiring conversations.
Great. What's up, guys?
I just want you to know that, let's go into it. Wait, I saw, where is it? Our story was Fashion Nikki TV. She said our story was told for us precisely. So she agrees with you.
Yeah.
On the fact that like we didn't have the chance to tell our story. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Fashion Nikki.
Yeah.
Also says that your work gives others such an insightful visual of reality, which I can attest to. Fun story for everyone out there. Today is the first day that I get to see and speak to Rain. We have not spoken
at all.
Today. I saw Truth on Instagram. I was inspired. I reached out to her. I told her it was a beautiful piece of artwork. And then a couple of weeks later, I started up the Elouise Show. And then I was scared to ask you actually at first.
Why?
You're so talented. You're so talented. And I was geeking out. And I was like, I hope she says yes. And then you were so humble and so kind. So I thank you for that. But Fashion Nikki is absolutely right. Your work is powerful. It's impactful. And please follow Rain at Rain Visuals on Instagram, because you'll trust me, it's going to be the best follow of your life.
Thank you. I appreciate that, guys. That's I am very humbled. It's very humbled.
Ian asked, I'll stop. I'm so sorry, Ian, if I'm saying your last name wrong. It's literally the first time I've ever seen it. I appreciate it for being a one-of-a-kind name and not like my last name, which is overused. But Ian was saying that people assume that he's white because of his last name or because of his name in general. I'm sorry that you have to go through that, Ian. That's kind of like...
Yeah, that sucks. Right. It works for me because, my name is Annabelle. I only go by Rain because that's like my artistry name. But, whenever I go in an interview, they don't ever know what they're going to get because my last name is French, and they just assume that maybe they'll get someone who's French, and then that's how it is. But again, we were brought here, and that's why we have our names the way we do as well.
My name is Lynette. It's like, how plain is that name, right? But if someone sees my name, so sometimes I work and I have a name tag on, right? And so it says Lynette on the name tag. But because like a lot of the times I have like my fro going or whatever, people look at my name and they're like, is it Lynette or like, no.
Yeah, it's exactly how it's spelled. It's Lynette.
Hi, nice to meet you. I was born here, duh.
Exactly. And that's, again, we brought that up again. It's just like, because you see me, you automatically assume that there's going to be a little hyphen or a little extra to it because I'm Black. Like, no, it's exactly how it looks.
Sorry to disappoint your racist expectations, but no.
Lynette?
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 I'm sure it's not Lynette. No, I'm not sure. Thank you for teaching me my name.
Exactly.
Okay, so back to Chadwick. Yes. Wait, hold on. Sorry, Fashion Nikki also said there's such a strong message in him maintaining his privacy and fighting through. He showed strength, endurance, and a warrior mentality.
Yeah.
And that I like because that I think it's a double-edged sword as it relates to, you know, what it is to be Black. I feel like as Black men and Black women, it's like, oh my God, you're so strong. And yes, that is absolutely true.
Absolutely.
However, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't have to seek therapy when we need help, you know, to like unload or unburdening yourself and unloading is not weak. You know, it takes a lot to admit that you need help. Just because we're strong doesn't mean we should take on more than we want to, let alone have to, you know? Just
take on more and still not get paid what we're supposed to, but
that part, I was just talking about like emotional burdens. Let's talk about the physical loads. Let's talk about the fact that Black women bust their asses in corporate America and get paid less than white women in corporate America. And women in general, I believe, get paid 75 cents to the dollar. Black women get paid less than that. And we have to come twice as sharp. We have to work twice as hard. We cannot be late. We cannot be upset even if we're in the right to be. We have to maintain our composure at all times. We have to be educated. We must speak up just enough, but not too much. Like there's so many politics to play in corporate America with Black imagery, let alone when you look at how we're being represented in the media.
Exactly. Exactly. Well put.
So but back to Chadwick Bosman, because there was a second point that you made about how like his life was inspiring and how like this, you know, this opens the lane for anyone else who wants to, you know, play a historical Black figure or, you know, a Black superhero or something like that. And one thing that also like his loss is immense, but one thing that we see in Hollywood is that they tend to reuse the same Black person over and over in roles, right? So like, I'm curious, as a filmmaker, how do you feel about Hollywood's approach of reusing the same actors, specifically the same Black actors, to play the Black roles in movies, as opposed to, you know, opening up opportunities for the many, many, many Black thespians out there?
Yeah, that's a great question also. You know, again, I think I touched on this earlier, that window is so small. That's what it tells us. As much as we have movies that we all love, like Black Panther, the thing is that the window is just so close, and you can see it with like the Oscars and the Emmys. Like we would never have to fight for the roles that we put our all into. We wouldn't have to fight and say, well, can you let someone who's also Black and talented, whose numbers were just as big as any other white or counterpart in any way, can we get a nomination? Can we get in the door? Can we win? Can we do something? Can we be seen? And again, it looks as though you know, again, the window is closed. It's not closed, but it's cracked open, and it's just enough for us to go in. But I see it as the Harry Belafontes and the City Poiriers, they are the ones that gave Chad Bosman and Denzel Washington and Forrest Whitaker and Spike Lee. They're the ones that crawled for us so that we can walk. The thing that's important, though, with all of that being said, is you get to a level where you're going up on the elevator. It's all about how we bring it back down. And I think I was somewhere, I think at an event, and Iman said that, the supermodel. She said it's about bringing the elevator up, but also bringing it back down for everyone else. So of course, yeah, it sucks in a sense because all of these actors are super, super, super talented and they do every role great, you know, but there's still work that needs to be done. And when they notice or see, or again, as we begin trying to have ownership of our own film, our own films, our own productions, we can then allow other talented thespians, you know, a chance to do these roles and just showcase their work because we are talented and we are out here. And I know that for a fact. But again, it's just, it has to do with ownership and it has to do with knowing when to bring that elevator back down, you know, to also include everyone in it so everyone can like have a chance to showcase talent.
This is when we appreciate, you know, Ava for Ray and, you know, Tyler Perry for TPS. Like, you may say what you want about Tyler Perry's films, and we'll definitely get into that conversation a little bit later, but like, he's employing a shit ton of Black actors.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's on to new actors all the time. So you may feel his work is problematic or not, but like, problematic or not, he has created a lane for a lot of people to work. And he did, and he came up from that.
Yeah.
What were we saying?
A billion. He had a billion. Okay.
For the call, he went from homeless to how many homes?
Yeah, to how many homes now? Okay, and that's what it is. And and he has his own production. Again, that's so important. Owning your business is so important.
And you know, people have this conversation all the time as it relates to music. This is a very trendy conversation right now as it relates to music. But the fun thing to know, if anyone on the call does not come from a acting background, theater background, or from a Black background, Black theaters in disenfranchised neighborhoods.
Oh, I like how you put that.
Right? Theater companies that work with youth in those neighborhoods because they lack budgets, right? What they then do is they usually group in a lot of the times like screenwriting or script writing. They teach the students how to write their own stories and act in their own stories. Also, a lot of younger people are more engaged in the stories that they took part in creating than, you know, A Raisin in the Sun, unfortunately, but it's a great play.
Yeah, it is a great play. Yeah.
But
great. Great, yeah.
but so you have there's a lot of talent within Black America as it relates to creativity. There's a lot of young people, middle-aged people, like anyone from millennial and down, like the creativity I think is through the roof with these people. And it's about, you know, utilizing your creativity in a smart way. Like, how many people are creating so many videos for TikTok and YouTube and Instagram, and not understanding that the terms and conditions for most of these companies state that platform now owns part of your work. They can reuse your work without asking you. If you post on Instagram, whatever you post on Instagram, they can reuse without asking you. You know, it's your, especially if you copyright it before you post it, you do own it. However, based on the terms and conditions that you like agree to when you sign up for this platform, they really don't have to ask you to like reuse part of it for a commercial. They don't.
Or anything. Yeah.
And that's horrible. But yes, make sure you own your writing. Make sure you trademark your name. Make sure like you own your you.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. That is so super, super important. And it actually reminds Huh? I did, you're right. But you know, you put it a way that, you know, it sounded really good. You know, you just gonna exactly. You know, it's so important because I have this she's an associate, but she created, she did an Issa Rae. She directed it, she written it, she put it together, she casted everyone. She was a DP when she needed to be. And I guess it's a short in a sense. It was like a web series, I'll say. It's called Waves. And I helped her out in the beginning. It's so cool to see someone do that. And then I think when she was up to like season 2, another show came out. It's actually on HBO, I believe. And it's called Waves. It's right there. This. And she didn't create that, but someone just literally took her name.
So wait, they took the name of her. I need you to explain this. Was the story the same, or they took the name of her?
The story is similar to her web series, and she literally talked about it as well. And she was like, you never know who's watching, and you never know who will take something. But that's exactly what happened. Her web series is called Waves, and then like a year or two later from that, this came out, and it's called Waves as well. And it's pretty much the same background. And again, it takes us back to, you never know who's watching, because Instagram or any other platform can take that and use it to their advantage and call it a day.
That's disgusting to me. So there is a project, there are a couple of projects that I've been working on that I refuse to put out on Instagram. And the reason why is because I want to say, what year was it? I graduated grad school 2019. I started grad school 2017. So in 2000, the winter of March 2018.
Yeah.
I released a digital choreo poem series called Evergreen. So I had this idea. I love, my favorite hands down playwright, but she really wrote a choreo poem, but for lack of a actual genre, I'm gonna call her my favorite playwright, is Ntozake Shange. And she wrote for color girls who've considered suicide when the rainbow is enough. So if anyone watched, I think it was a 2015, 16 film by Tyler Perry. That was such an ugly face. By Tyler Perry, called For Color Girls. It was based on Ntozake Shange's choreo poem. I've always been very super inspired by her work. And I did a little research. I saw that like there was this one guy who did For Colored Boys. And I was trying to do research on people who have like explored this artistic style, this theater artistic style of choreo poem. And I couldn't find so many people, so I wanted to contribute to the genre, right? But we're living in an era where our generation does not really go to theater that much, you know what I'm saying? So then I was like, okay, well, what can I do to like bring, a choreo poem into a digital landscape? And that's when I created Evergreen, right? So the idea was to release one chapter a day for 31 days. And actually for 30 days, and the last chapter was actually credits, right?
Okay, yeah.
So I released this choreo poem. So there's a certain cadence. It's like spoken word, right? But then there's also dance intertwined. So it's like imagery, there's dancing, there's spoken word.
Yeah. Send it to me.
I took it off Instagram. I have a lot of it in my archive, and we'll re-release it in a future art gallery.
Yes, I love that.
But it won't be on Instagram anymore. I have like a couple of chapters on Instagram because I am very proud of the work.
Yeah, it should be.
There was a chapter that it was called. Hold on, let me look up. It's so long ago.
Yeah,
I write almost every day, so
take your time.
I forget the name of my my pieces sometimes. There was a chapter, choreo poems right here, called Be a Lady.
Yeah.
So I had Be a Lady, Beauty Standards. Well, I had 31 chapters, but Be a Lady, Beauty Standards, Smart or Pretty, and Menstruation, right? So there was a commercial that was literally released a year and a half after I released Evergreen. That when I listened to the words and the cadence of it, it literally
Stop.
The same shit. And the title of it was Be a Lady.
Shut up.
I tell you no lie.
That's crazy.
Called Be a Lady. And the thing about it that like, it was white. So like, it wasn't like, if a Black person, and maybe this is me, but I'm not really privy to a lot of white people who engage in spoken word. And I'm not really privy to a lot of white people who know much about choreo poems.
Right.
So that may be ignorance on my part. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. However, I'm not privy to that. But in this commercial called Be a Lady, like
I gotta check it out. I'm like, I'm writing this down.
In the same cadence of like that piece and literally same words, same language, in certain places verbatim. I was just like, okay,
that's wild.
Learning lesson.
Yeah.
That commercial had a budget behind it. It looked like it did very well. So what did I learn from that? I'm on to something.
Yeah, absolutely. And nothing is by coincidence. Nothing is by coincidence. It's funny you say that because I mean, I kept thinking about it, but I'm not gonna say who it is either. A video came out today that looks, now everybody's gonna look for the video, but it literally looks like my new normal video. And I was like, okay, well, this could just be a coincidence. But the way it was made, I'm like, this looks like a lot of the work that I did for the past couple of months while being in the pandemic. And I was like, I don't know if someone's just thinking like me. I mean, but I just find it so interesting that, you know, people feel the need to do that. But just like you said, you're onto something. And I truly believe what's yours will be yours. Even if someone steals it, someone calls it theirs, at the end of the day, what is yours will always be yours. And you will do what you are supposed to do. I can
tell you for a fact that you're definitely onto something before anyone ever mimics your work, right?
Yeah.
Based off of what, like, I reached out to you because your piece was so powerful, period.
Yeah.
And that's on period, poo.
Period.
Okay?
Yes.
So like, you're definitely onto something. Keep exploring your artistic style. Keep telling the truth the way that you are. And I guarantee you will continue to like climb. No one can take that from you.
Thank you so much.
But speaking of powerful Black imagery, what are some of the most powerful Black cultural images that you've seen in media? And that can be across the board because media is books, media is, you know, website, media is movies, TV, it's, you know, everything, music. So what are some of the most powerful imageries?
I mean, oh my gosh. So many come to mind. The first one that comes to mind always though, because I literally, anytime it's on, I watch it. So The Wiz is like I'm here for Diana Ross, Michael Jackson. I love everything about The Wiz. Like, yeah. Yes, girl. I love it. I love it so much. I love that everyone on there was Black. That's one. Two, the music that was, because I also love making music videos. That's pretty much how I started. I always would listen to music because music is a huge, very important to me. And I always saw like images that came to my head. And Truth was because of SZA's Drew Barrymore, which didn't have anything to do with it, but it was a story I felt that I needed to tell. And again, the music and the imagery and just everything it stood for, the truth behind what the society is, from you know, the brick road or going home, or the evil witch, you know, like all of that, Evil Lynn, all of that was a truth to be told in what society looked like for Black people at the time, being in Harlem. Like, come on, it can't.
And it's dope. You know, what's dope about The Wiz is also the time it came out. I think that came out mid to late 70s.
Yeah.
To have that many Black faces in one film at that time was truly iconic.
It's so iconic. And it's crazy because I even still to this day, I will look for every dancer, and every single dancer is Black, and it's just beautiful. So I love that. You guys pull up The Wiz.
Hey, I just want to
1978. Yeah. Right, 1978. Yep.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, I said, I'm like, yeah, it was definitely around that time. Yep, it was around that time, definitely. And it, again, it's so iconic and it was just done so beautifully. And again, it's just taking a story that white America was used to and then making it ours, which was so dope. And it was different in its own way. It was authentic and it was just beautiful. So I love that. Again, so into music videos, I loved Missy Elliott, seeing Missy Elliott, Busta Rhymes, Puff Daddy, you know, all,
Can we talk about how Missy Elliott was such a fashion killer?
come
Like,
on.
here you have this big woman, this beautiful woman, like
Yep.
living in her own fashion sense. Like, and that's something that I really wish would transcend into today. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like so many people try to replicate this
Yeah.
idea of what is fashion, this idea of what is cool. But like, I feel like in the 90s,
Yeah.
aging myself,
Forget.
in the 90s, like what was cool was what was cool for you. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like
Yeah.
everybody had their own lane. Like yes, Busta Rhymes, Missy Elliott,
So
TLC, like
yes, so dope.
yeah, like
Aaliyah, everyone had their own lane, even if it was like, you know, real hardcore gangster like DMX. Stop Being Greedy is one of my favorite videos where they play the twins, like he played himself. I thought that was, I mean, growing up, I thought that was so dope. I loved it from like R&B. I just loved how it was a short story based off of words and even the twist. Like right now, what comes to my head is Drew Hill sleeping in my bed. It was about a woman being cheating on her man, but in the video, she was a lesbian. It comes to turn out, and it's just like I love music videos. I still watch music videos till today.
that is back in the day. Like now we live in an age where
Right.
LGBTQ, non-binary,
Yeah.
all that they have a voice.
Huge.
They have a lane. They can speak. They can
Yeah.
walk the street. Have
Mhm.
hold hands with their significant other. Live
Yep.
in whatever space. They're finally able to take up space,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
in the 90s,
Yes. Saying something like that. Yeah. Funny story, real quick. I remember I was like super young when it came out. And you know, me and my cousin always had this thing like, did you see this video? Did you see this video? Did you see this video? So my older cousin's walking up the stairs and my aunt's in the kitchen. And I'm like, yeah, did you see the Drew Hill video, sleeping in my bed? And then I blurt out, yeah, she's a lesbian. And my aunt was like, like, what are you talking about? I didn't know what it really meant then, but you know, even then, it's like, again, it tells a story, and it was so exciting. And again, back to film, like Boys in the Hood, it's just, I love true stories, real stories, because that was way before its time. All of the things I'm talking about, The Wiz, Boys in the Hood, Missy Elliott, Busta Rhymes in their music videos, or even like books that you can read now. It's all of them were before their time, each and every one of them.
What's dope also about the 90s catalog is the diversity in the content, the diversity in the content, the diversity in the style, in terms of Black images, you know what I'm saying? You think a Poetic Justice,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
Love Jones, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you have some beautiful stories, but then you also have Boys in the Hood.
Right.
You also have Juice. Like,
yeah.
You have this just diverse content, this diverse catalog of storytelling. And now we come to today, right? Where we arguably are able to take up more space at higher positions. We still have a lot of work to do, but we arguably take up more space in higher positions. But is our catalog growing to be more diverse, or are we seeing a lot more of the same? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In terms of what we're pushing out into the television and film landscape, but then also like Amadou Diablo was Diablo.
Yeah.
Look up a name.
Yeah. You said it. You pretty much pronounced it as close as you can.
It wasn't right.
Wasn't quite there, right?
Quite right. And I apologize. Was I think I was in second grade. I had to write a report. I had to write a report on that in second grade.
Really?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I had to write a report on that
Oh,
in
wow.
second grade, which is pretty intense, right?
Very
So I
intense.
remember that that was a very shocking, it
Huh.
was a very, very shocking subject, right? But then you fast forward to 2020, that like, and we're hearing about this year. I've read about 3 lynchings. I've lost count of the number of Black men and women that were possibly, either violently treated very violently or killed at the hands of the police. That's not including the ridiculous uptick in shootings in inner cities and urban areas, whether it be because of pandemic, like more so than normally in the summertime, because summertime always has an uptick in crime,
Yeah.
especially shootings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
However, like this year, it's been like exponentially higher. How are people getting these guns? Why are people like killing each other? And more importantly, why is it in my face every 5 minutes that another Black person has been shot, another Black person has been beaten, another Black person has been killed? Like, why is that what's being thrown in my face? And so when we're talking Black imagery, right, is this negatively reinforcing like the view of Black people? Because I think it's really interesting that post Obama,
Yeah.
right, where we have this educated Black man, even Black people can make it to to a position of power. Even Black men can be president. We go from the age of the Obamas to just this like brute imagery of what Blackness is. This animalistic imagery. This imagery that says that we are disposable. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you think why do you think that it's there's this shift right now? What do you think that these constant this constant violence is doing, like violence against Black people, this constant reminder of violence against Black people, this overload of it in the media? Like, what do you think it's doing to us as a people, especially to our kids?
Yeah. Even when you say it, it actually still upsets me, honestly, because we are at a point where we're losing count of how many people that we're saying justice for. But what I find interesting is that we've always had a violence towards us. And the only difference is that the fact that people have camera phones and Instagram and social media and Facebook Live and all of these things are things to help tell the right story about how we're treated in America. And of course, I feel like, yes, it's a desensitizing in a sense that you can, at the palm of your hand, watch a man be murdered by someone who is supposed to serve and protect. That troubles me so much. And it's to a point where, I mean, it honestly upsets me. It still does, actually. But it's just to the point where if we didn't have it, it would still continue. It would never actually go away. And the media, what they're doing is, again, they're finding a way to, again, create a narrative for us. But I think what the difference is within that is the fact that now we can also say, look at how you treat us. Look at how you kill us. Look at how the boys in blue, you say is supposed to protect us. Look at what they're doing to us. Look at what they're doing to our neighborhoods. And of course, it kind of feels like, oh my gosh, why do I always have to see another Black man killed? Or why do I have to hear our president of the United States talk about the fact that the people that are peacefully protesting are thugs? Why do I have to hear that? I know that upsets everyone. It upsets me. It literally stirs my soul. But what it also does, it brings awareness. And sometimes when there is just so much ugly, you want change. And that's what's happening right now. Although we see so much going on in media and how we're being portrayed and how we're just being killed, which is so disgusting, and how we're still screaming justice for Breonna Taylor 100 days later. What it does though is still bring awareness to what America really looks like. Not the shit that they're writing, not the shit that says, oh yeah, you know, the schools, you hear the president say the schools are bad. Look, if you're in a bad neighborhood, the schools are this, the schools are that. But it brings awareness to wake up. Spike Lee said it in the 80s. He wasn't, movies like what we just said, Boys in the Hood, Do the Right Thing. Wake up, let's wake up. And that's the thing, it's always been around. It never really just kind of happened. We've been hearing about things like this.
There's just like this light on it all. There's just this extra bright spotlight on it right now. And it's overwhelming and it's hurtful and it's painful and it brings up a lot of emotions.
Yeah.
I feel like some people are getting desensitized to it.
Yeah.
But like there's just some shit that you can't unsee. There's just some shit that like no matter how many times you see it, like I can't tell you how many times this year I've seen a Black man shot, whether it be while he's facing you, in his back, while he's in his car. Like I've seen Black men shot on Instagram, on Facebook, on the TV so many times, so many different ways. And every time it's shocking. Every time my heart drops, every time it feels bad. So like, I don't understand why I understand why we need to know what's happening, but it's almost like the media is pushing us to see this.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like this is what they want us to focus on right now.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think that it like, how much of it contributes to like awareness and how much of it contributes to like a negative feeling for some people of like helplessness.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a lot. And the thing is, what's funny about that, it's definitely a 50-50 because in America, you know, and being Black, you think of Black people, you think of your people. But what the truth is that there is white people, white counterparts that I will say, yeah, some of them are down for the cause and they want to be allies. And I understand that. So we'll put that out there. However, there is
allies.
Right. There is a white America and they do want to control how we look and what is going on with us and making it okay. They're Kyle, what's his name? The one that killed the protesters. I forgot his last name. It's escaping me right now. The one that grabbed the gun and started killing.
And is now sitting in jail.
Alive. Let's just point alive. Alive.
He gets to live.
And he gets to tell his story alive. Not like he's paralyzed or anything, but he gets to tell his story alive and well.
Like a man who shot a bunch of protesters and still had like an assault rifle in his hand. He gets to live, but the guy who tried to break up a fight and had no weapon, he gets shot 7 times in the back in front of his kids. Yeah,
Jacob Blake, and who's currently paralyzed. And what's funny is they just took the cuffs off of him on his house. Yeah, while he's in his hospital bed, they literally just took the cuffs off of him. And again, you know, of course, there's always an agenda. We have an election coming up. So of course, they're going to control the media. They're going to control what is in front of us. They're going to deflect on what's really going on in the world. However, I think at the end of the day, it's up to us. And the response, though, is not only, oh, look at us, you know, let me go and wow out. Because that some people are thinking like that, which is true. But what it's doing is it's also creating a conversation of how we are tired of this and how we are sick of this. And I do think purposefully they're going to put certain things like, look, we're going to continue putting our foot on your necks. But what's important is how we respond to that and what is our next moves in order to ensure that this just doesn't happen anymore. We're tired of it. And I think that's what's most important, because with anything in America, ain't gonna be great. If you ain't owning it for yourself, if you're in a major corporation, if you work for ABC or with any of those, it's not always gonna be beautiful. It's not always gonna be cute. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to take certain level of just sometimes disrespect. Like even me being in a corporate America, like if I wear my braids, I get at least 5 questions about my hair and how it was done and what we get that all the time. And that's just how it feels to be Black period in America. It ain't gonna be just, we're gonna be portrayed as, although we had Obama, which is great, we still had Mike Brown. gets shot down. You know, like these things are still was very relevant even then as a Black president, you know, in the White House. So again, it's not so much, of course, it's in our faces, but it's our response and what our job is to do to ensure that they don't keep their foot on our necks any longer. Period.
This has been a great conversation.
Yes.
There
Girl, you keep going, call me.
There are two questions that I didn't get to, but I'm gonna ask my favorite one.
Yes.
What is your favorite part about being a beautiful, creative, talented Black woman in America today?
I love everything about being Black. And I know we touched on it. I know, you know, some people be like, oof, I don't know, being Black is what you want to do right now. Like Terry Crews, hop on the other side if you can, save yourself. But I love everything about being Black. I love how we both look very different, but we know the same struggle, right? I love how your curls may be a little different from my curls. I love our shades. I love the way we can dance on beat. Okay, come on, somebody. Okay. I just love everything. I love our uniqueness. I love how creative we are. And, you know, although being strong sometimes is like, we don't have to be so strong, but being Black means that we can adhere to any obstacle you give us. If you throw anything at us, we will take it and we will dance and we will sing and we will still rejoice in our pain and our struggle. So yes, if I'm someone who's currently feeling like, oh, I've been passed, or I haven't got the promotion that I deserved, or I'm not getting the money. At the end of the day, that never stops a Black person, a Black woman, a Black man from saying, I know what I deserve, and whether you see it or not, I can do it elsewhere. I can do it by myself. And I just love that. I love our tribe. I love being able to call a brother, you're my sister. I love our spoken language. Everything. Okay? All right. I love it.
I love it too. I'm so grateful to have had you on the show.
Thank you so much.
To be able to speak to you and see you for the first time.
I know.
I hope we built from here.
Yes, same here. I'm telling you, send me your work, girl. You know,
I got you. I got you.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
I forgot to promote the brand that I wanted to promote this week, but I'll save it for next week. Everybody, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone who tunes in. Thank you again. This was amazing.
This was the Elouise Show. Thank you for watching.